for it? Now, you notice that not all are perfect squares. For example, perfect square trinomial. For example, let's go back to the previous slide. This is not a perfect square trinomial. This one is not also a perfect square trinomial. Why? Remember, I told you the last one should be positive. Why? Because it's the square of the last term. So it must be positive. This one is not a perfect square trinomial. Why? If you divide 14 by 2, it's 7, right? But you need to square it. So the last term must be 49. This is also not a perfect square trinomial. Because if we divide 16 by 2, the answer is 8. But you need to square it. So the last term must be 64 and not 8. Now, what do we do with quadratic equations that are not perfect square trinomials? To find for its roots, we need to do the completing the square. So how are we going to do it? You need to transfer the constant number to the other side. So you'll be left the first and the second one. Then divide the numerical coefficient of x by 2 and square it. That will become a perfect square trinomial. For example, exercise number 1 is make my trinomial perfect. Now, in the chat box for A, what should be the last term so that it is a perfect square trinomial? Give your answers in the chat box. Ready? Very good. It must be 1. How will we do it? Remember, 2 divided by 2, square it. So 1. Very good. Next, how about for B? X squared plus 12x plus, so you have 12 divided by 2, square it. So you have 6 squared is 36. Very good. Next, how about for C? What must be the last one? 16 divided by 2 is 8, but we need to square it. So that's 64. Yes, Kyle Nasaire. Any questions?
Ma'am, sorry.
Yeah. Yes, Kyle. And let's get back to Kyle afterwards. Next, how about for letter D? X squared minus 11x plus. What must be the last term? Ready in the chat box? That should be 11 divided by 2. A fraction. So you need to square it. Go back to your grade 7 lesson. 11 squared is 121 over 2 squared is 4. So the last term will be 121 over 4. Very good, Syra. Next, it's next letter E. What must be the last term? X squared minus 30x plus. What must be the last term for it to be a perfect square trinomial? We have 30 divided by 2. Square it. So 15 squared, that is 225. Very good. 225. Now, that's why, this is the reason why I let my grade 7 students before memorize the squares from 1 to 20, because these are very common up to grade 12. Now, this is, again, how to make a trinomial perfect. What will we do? The second term, divide it by 2, and then you square it. And remember, the last term must always be positive. Let me first stop